Today, we're going to talk about how to sharpen your knives, because you don't know how, and you need to know how. You're afraid of not knowing how to sharpen the knife or how to do it correctly, and it's easy to make a mistake. You do have to know how to sharpen your knives, and it takes some time to sharpen each individual knife. But we'll get to that story a little bit later. First, I'd like to talk for just a couple minutes about a bit of the historic view and the historic uses, in Japan anyway, of knife sharpening. The earliest sharpening stone, natural stone, would be something like this, and this would be like 200 years ago, or maybe perhaps a little bit more, unless there was a very strong and reliable Chinese introduction of woodblock printmaking to Japan. And there might have been, but the Japanese put it in their own way. But rough, fine stones were found and were used to sharpen the knives. Probably at first the stone was used just like this, without moistening it. Eventually, somebody figured out that if it were moistened, it would be a little bit better. That being the case, some natural stones were made from some very fine powder, or they were cut from a fine stone, and like that, it made more smoothly. All four edges were not used, but the one edge that was used was very, very fine. Eventually, maybe to a certain extent now also, these stones were put on boxes, and a box like this kept inside of it the knife that the person liked the best, and it would be this one. But the more I look at this, I can't find how it was used to carve wood. So this might have been a very wealthy man's, shaving knife. It's okay. That's all right. It's all right. He kept it very sharp. But what I don't understand is when you turn this upside down, the bottom can slide off and open up something here, which I don't know what could have been there. This looks like an opening, but it's not opening at all. It's just a dark line that goes over there. So just exactly how he used this part of the box, I don't know. This is extremely old, and nobody, I'm sure, uses it these days. More recent and extremely popular, you can buy this now almost any place, are these strictly man-made stones, sharpening the basic knife here, and then sharpening the curved knives here. A knife that was really, really large, like this, you would have to sharpen on the back, because there's no groove here for that. But your smaller knives will go somewhere into a slightly larger one, and you can then just go like this, up and down, up and down. And then to take the iron partially loose and on the part of the knife that you don't want, you would turn it over and then upside down, somewhat like this, and pull off that layer of steel. These are extremely popular, and they're not all expensive, and you can get them just about any place at all. If you want to use this process, this historic way of sharpening knives, you need one of these stones, and you need it to be wet before you can begin using it. In the morning when you go into your studio and you're going to do a lot of carving that day, at that point you put this into the water and you let it absorb the water, and then take it and put it there. You can sharpen the knife in this case with the water there, but if you don't like that particularly, you can take that off. And then there is a stone which you can buy. It's not cheap, but it lasts for several lifetimes. A stone of extremely fine, extremely small. It's like hard mud. It's like that. And on this, you put a layer of this, and this is what will really sharpen your knife. You can sharpen it with just this, but this will save you a great, great, great deal of time. And you put your knife in there and you sharpen it, and you can add some more if you like, but you probably won't. And then when you finish with that, you put it back in here, and leave it there until the afternoon after lunch, and then you come out and you sharpen your knife again, or sharpen the knives that you will use in the afternoon, but not in that morning. And this is okay. I did this for a long time, because my primary teacher sharpened his knives this way once a day or something like that. It wasn't too often, but he did it. He liked to have the knives blade only, not the handle. That made me a little bit nervous, and so I don't do that. But he gave me, after I got my teacher's license from him, he gave me some knives which he used, extra knives which he used, which had no handle at all. And I said, "Thank you very much, Sensei. Thank you very much." And then I moved to Kyoto, and it was okay. It was okay. More or less, that's it. And if you want to do it historically, then you can get something like this, and you need to soak it in the water, and that's no problem whatsoever. And if you want to, you can buy one of these, but just do it with your hand in it. But today's talk is going to be in 3 parts, and part 1 is this one, and part 2 will come shortly, and then part 3 is the whole point of my talk today to you, the whole point. But you do need to know some history. For the most part, we use what's called in Japanese a shinen, and it's a very soft, it's a plywood, and it's a very soft, and it's easy to carve, but it keeps fine lines, more or less in a very fine width. It's a soft wood, so it can't print 100 prints on a soft sheet of plywood. If you're making a design that has a lot of fine lines in it, then those fine lines have to be carved on a magnolia wood or a cherry wood. You can carve on a soft wood, but you can't get very many. You can't get very many prints before the wood wears down. So that's chapter 1.